Hey, it's Sebastian. I have still my shop, so I'm going to answer 5 more questions from viewers like yourself. If you have questions, put them in the comments below, and I will answer them hopefully in my next or one of my upcoming videos. So the first question here is from Krista. Krista is asked, how do I do it all as a one-woman show with another job? I'm overwhelmed after being in business for 4 years with lots of ups and downs. I need inspiration to scale and grow. Okay, so I have in podcast episode 6, I talk about how to do this as a full-time job. We were working 9 to 5 jobs. And when we first started our business, up until the day we opened our first brick and mortar store, when Chad quit his job to run that, I still kept my 9 to 5 job. But when we were doing all of our markets, when we had over 30 or 40 wholesale accounts, we were doing all of that while we were still working from home and while we still had our 9 to 5 jobs, I should say. So it's definitely doable. Time blocking is huge for us. We actually have a time block worksheet that people in our inner circle have found that is useful for them. So if you're in the inner circle, definitely check that out under the resources where we have lots of other things, but there's a time block worksheet there that people have found really useful. But you can also just find some out on the internet as well. Time blocking is really big for us. It's how we sit and we will knock out an entire month's worth of social media posts in a night or two, right? So, or we will, when I'm doing my wholesale outreach, the way we got to 140 stores isn't by like hiring a sales team to go out and do that. Or we're very specific about our outreach, but I do it all in time blocks. So one evening while we're having family time, watching TV or whatever, I will make an entire list of all these shops that I'm looking at and seeing, hey, would my candles be a good fit? Okay, they would be. Then I'm putting them on my spreadsheet, which is going to have the shop's name, their Instagram and Facebook accounts, their website. I try to find out who the owner of the store is or the manager, get their email addresses. So instead of emailing and outreach to them right then, I will create a whole list. So I'm just doing one big task at a time. Then the next time I have spare time, I then will start emailing all of them. And then a week later, I do all of my follow-up. So I go over this more in detail with our in our Mastering Wholesale course. But that's a gist of how we operate our business, which is to time block things. It's just like with making candles. I don't just make 2 of this candle and 1 of that candle and 3 of that candle in a day, right? I'm making 24 of that candle. And then when they get low, I'll make another batch of them. I'm not making things on the fly. I like to have a stock, and you don't have a lot of stock. We'll have, now that we have 3 shops and we have our online business, so we're going to have a decent sized back stock of, 24, 36, 48 candles, depending on what scent it is. But in our stores themselves, it's kind of like just having a smaller business, right? Where we'll just have back to like 6 of everything. That's all we need. When we start to get low on those, we have alerts that go off for us in Shopify that says, hey, this store needs this. And that's how we have that set up. So time block things. If you're too busy to get everything done, then maybe it's time to start outsourcing some stuff. Social media, some people love, some people hate. Photography, some people love, some people hate. So what can you outsource for an affordable cost to take a lot of that stuff off of your plate? For instance, photography, we went round and round and round. We had such a struggle with doing photography. What we ended up doing is we bartered with a professional photographer that product photography was her expertise. So we traded candles for images. So that's a way of getting something massive off your plate. Or is there someone that's up and coming in building websites and they would barter with you for you to give them product in exchange for them doing your website? So what is it that is taking so much of your free time away? But if you, again, episode 6 on the podcast, I believe, or maybe it's, episode 6 on the podcast talks all about how to do this while you have a full-time job. So hopefully that'll help you out a little bit there. Next question here is from Sherry, and she asks how to price her candles. Okay, for us, we figure out what is our customer. And this goes back to making sure you know what niche you're in and who your target audience is. So we figure out what our customer is going to spend for candles. So we go into those shops that customer is already shopping in. We check the prices, we check the sizes, we check to make sure that this would be a comparable type of candle. And then we price accordingly to what they are already spending. So for us, our customer is spending between $25 and $32 for your typical 10-ounce straight-sided candle. So that's what we did. We came in at that price. And then we work backwards to make sure it's going to make sense. So we priced our candles at $26, and then we make that candle that's going to work for that customer for as cheap as possible, right? You still have to have the value presented to them. So it still has to be the right size. It still has to have the right kind of branding that's going to resonate with them. It has to smell great. All the things that creates value in your product. How can I still give that value, but at the least amount of cost possible? So our candles, put it together, these between $5 and $5.50 on this size candles, what our cost of goods are for this. That's really enough to from the vessel, the wax, the wick, the oil, the label, the lid, the warning stickers, the wick sticker on the bottom, all that stuff, $5 to $5.50. Some of the oils are more expensive, so they're going to go up a little bit. But we are pricing our candles at $26, so we've got well over 5x on our margins. So that's something to keep in mind, is you're going to have some solid margins. Those type of margins will allow us to run sales, will allow us to do wholesale just fine without a problem. If you're not pricing your candles high enough, you're not going to be able to do wholesale. You're not going to be able to run sales, discounts, advertisements on Facebook. You're not going to be able to do any of that if you don't price your candles high enough. So keep that in mind. And when you are trying to figure out what your target audience is going to spend, if they're not going to spend what makes sense for you to be able to get that, at least 4x, we prefer to go to 5 or 6x. If they're not going to spend that, where your margins are going to be too tight, then you have to find a different target audience to go after. You have to have a different kind of candle for a different person, most likely. That's just the reality of it. If the people that you are going to be selling your candles to are only buying candles for $10, you're not going to make it work, because that's, you're not going to be able to compete with those that are already doing that. You have to find a customer that is spending enough money on candles for you to still make a profit, or it's going to put yourself out of business there. That was from Sherry. The next question is from Jessica. When do you know that you need an assistant? Guys, we need an assistant from day one, because there's going to be so much to do, from social media to photography to building your website to making candles to sending emails out for wholesale to collecting wholesale orders and then putting those orders together, getting them out. So we all need an assistant, because running this even as a small business is a lot of work. Kind of what I recommended for a previous question is check out the episode. I believe it's episode 6 of the podcast, about how to do this while still having a full-time job. That will help you to get some ideas that you can put together and hopefully implement for your business. But we knew we needed to hire someone when we were making enough revenue that we can afford them, because that's one of the realities, is you have to be making sure that you're making enough so that you can pay them. You can't hire someone on and then, we don't want to hire someone on and then let them go right away. So even when we first started our brick and mortar store, it was just us for like a week. We wanted to at least make sure that we were going to have people coming through the doors, and we were going to make enough revenue. We didn't have one of those like grand opening spectaculars where 1,000 people came. It was not like that at all. So it was still a struggle, deciding, do we need to hire someone? For us, it was reality. We did, because we have a brick and mortar store. So we needed just a body in the shop, right? So we need to have, we're in the shops all the time, but I was working from home still, my 9-to-5 job. Chad was in the shop. So for him to have any free time whatsoever, we need to hire someone. So hiring someone when it's going to help you to push the business forward, thinking, God, I would make more money if I had someone else. So once you realize, yes, I can't get everything done and there's more money to be made, so I need to hire someone to take some of these responsibilities from me so that I can focus my time in other areas. That's really what we have kind of gotten down to now. So we can start outsourcing a lot of these different tasks to the people that we've hired. So we have a great team that they now all, most of them know how to make candles. So that's freeing up a lot of our time. That's why I'm able to now, on Tuesdays inside the Inner Circle, we do office hours every single Tuesday for all of our members. We get on live, or I get on live with them. I can work from home on that day, so I can, spend a lot of time with our members. So that's one thing that has helped us, is being confident in that member. So they have to be able to take something away from you that's going to allow you to do something else that's just driving your business forward. So, making sure that you have the money, making sure that you're bringing it in. Because again, you don't want to hire someone and then end up not making any more money. You're not being able to pay them and keep the business where it was, to where then you have to pivot again. So, making sure that you have a foundation around your business that is sustainable. Then you can bring someone in, and even if it's as a just throwing a number out there, say you're profiting $1,000 a month, $1,000 a month, but hey, if I hire so and so just freelancing, and they're just going to do our social media for $300 a month, and they're going to make all of these posts for me, how much time am I going to get back in my life because for $300? That could be fantastic, because there's going to be an expert that can do it much better than what we can. So if you can find someone to do those type of tasks for the photography, so we outsource that, like I mentioned before, we outsourced that at the very beginning. Now Chad does our photography. He enjoys doing photography, but at the time we couldn't do it. It was taking up so much time from us. So, okay, let's outsource those type of things. So those are the things that really start to hire for, is going to be that, or just the production side. If you're to the point where production is a lot, and you would be better suited to be out selling your product instead of producing it, then definitely hire someone. Sierra's question: how to overcome imposter syndrome to scale my business? Okay, so I talk about imposter syndrome a lot. In fact, on my YouTube channel, just in the search bar, just type in imposter syndrome. I actually have videos that are titled that. So imposter syndrome is going to be with you forever. Okay, so it's going to happen. Every time you get to the next level, there's going to be a new imposter syndrome that's going to creep in. That's just the reality of it. When we first started playing around with candles in our kitchen, we thought we could never do this. How are we going to do this? Okay, why are our candles going to be better than someone else's? And then we started diving into the branding, and how is our logo and our branding going to be better than someone else's? And then we started doing markets, and then we're one of like 5 candle brands out at one of these markets. And how are we, why are we here? How are we going to sell candles instead of them? When it comes to wholesale, same thing. Why are people going to buy my candles instead of someone else's? So every level you get to, you're always going to have imposter syndrome. It's about how you're going to manage it. And you've got to realize that what you're doing is what you want to do. The more confidence you get in your business, it will lighten up. So don't get me wrong, it'll definitely lighten up. We're to the point now where I'm 100% confident in our product. Everything's on point for us, right? Like there's nothing about our brand that we would change. There's things that we want to add to it, but I'm not like, oh, you know what, I need to go back and fix that logo, or I need to go back and fix it. No, like what we're putting out, we're confident in, but that's only because it's been out there for a little while now, right? So that has built up our confidence. But now there's things that, we opened up a store and we thought, oh gosh, no one's going to come buy our candles. But now we have 3 stores. When I thought about wholesale, no one's going to buy our candles wholesale. Now we've got 140, retailers. But I still have it, because now I'm thinking, do I want to go into a trade show? Do I want to go to the Atlanta Mart, or one of these really big trade shows? They cost $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 for this booth, and then people walk the show, and then that's how you really scale out your business. But I battle that of like, oh no, like, do I belong there? And, is it for us? Are we to that level that we can actually get a return on there? That's a lot of money to just throw out there. So I still have that imposter syndrome all the time. So it's just about managing it. So it's like, okay, look, I know I got a good product. Let me see if this is going to be a good fit. And so then I just have to be strategic about how I do things. And so it's like, okay, let me go and attend one of these and walk that show and see, okay, pick up some tips, tricks. It's just like whenever we went and first had our first market, our first craft show, we attended 2 or 3 of them ahead of time. Okay, what kind of tent do they have? What kind of tables do they have? Oh, look, there's a tablecloth. All right, let's take notes on everything that we're going to need. Do we need to have, what kind of signage do we have? How are they ringing up things? All of that stuff, just go and research. The more research you do, you're just going to feel more confident about it. It's like anything that we do, right? It's just like making dinner at night, right? Like if you're a cook and I throw frozen pizzas in, like I'm not a cook, but like, if you're cooking like Chad's making all kinds of stuff. He's going to the grocery store, it seems like every night, to buy more stuff. And he makes stuff every night. And if you've done the same, it's like the first time you do it, you're not confident in how it's going to turn out. But every time you do it over and over again, you just get more confident in it. So that's kind of the way it is with us. Another example of imposter syndrome that we always had at the beginning was when we shipped out candles. When we shipped out candles, we were terrified. Like, are they going to arrive safe? Are they going to arrive broken? We actually sent out a bunch of candles to people that we knew just to see how they would arrive, right? So that was one way to kind of conquer the fear of unknowns. There was, all right, let's mail some of these out to people, see if they arrive safely, because we don't want some person that we don't know discovering us, buying our product, and then it arriving shattered, right? We were terrified of that. And so, but repetition beat that fear. So just keep going. The ultimate thing is realize that it's normal, that it's not oh, I have imposter syndrome, and then if I do this, this, and this, I'm no longer going to have imposter syndrome. You won't of that specific topic or that level anymore, hopefully, but you're going to get to the next level and it's going to happen all over again. But that's how we grow, right? So, don't think that you are experiencing something that most of us aren't, because all of us are. So hopefully this has helped you out today. If you have questions, again, put them in the comments below. Come join us in our Facebook group. There's a link for that below as well. I have lots of free resources on our website, candlebusinesspro.com. There's even a blog out there that has some good tips and tricks of all kinds of stuff. So thank you so much for watching. Take care.